We're live, boys. We're trying this again. Maybe we get the whole video tonight. Tony Jigsaw Cotillo, Mr. Adam, Mr. Nick. We're here again. Win Daily Sports, the NBA DFS pre-lock show. We've been having a lot of fun. Last night, took a little night off, did some props for profit. And again, listen, I'm a Philly guy, but Cork Maz is on the 100% dead to me list. I will never start that dude again, ever. Okay. Couldn't even give me 1 3-pointer against that lackluster team that had nobody playing. And you know what? Buda Carmelo Anthony for getting people kicked out for calling them boys. Stop it. You're not that good. You need to relax. So, anyway, again, where we find us at Win Daily Sports on all social formats, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and obviously YouTube and Twitch. Make sure you're a subscriber. But boys, we're gonna get right into it. As always, 11 game slate tonight. Big difference from a 2-game slate last night. But Ghost, how you doing, man? What games you looking at? Just like we always start, what's going to be that action-packed game to look at?
Doing well, man. Hope you guys are doing well. Also, happy Fajita Friday to everybody out there that's watching. So
Fajita Friday, I love that.
Today, there's I'm pretty much nailed in Discord. There's pretty much 4 games that I'm looking at, but one in particular that I think might, I don't want to say fly under the radar. It all depends on what happens with Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook, all being questionable right now on that injury report. But the Charlotte LA Lakers game is going to be huge for me. I will be playing LaMelo Ball towards the top of the pricing grid. He's still priced down there. So, and then depending on what happens with the Lakers injury report, it's nice that it's one of the first few games on the slate. So we should be getting that news relatively early. Typically, West Coast games are towards the 10 p.m. Eastern time slot there. So the fact that it's at 7:30 is going to be pretty huge for us. And we'll be able to get some strong exposure to the Lakers value plays as well.
Yeah, man, there's going to be a lot of value plays tonight. Adam, he said you cooked it up. You threw the 4 teams in there. What's kind of like, what are you looking at tonight when it talks about value for those games?
Yeah, I mean, like Go said, I'm definitely looking at kind of the same thing. And, it's nice because on an 11-game slate, you kind of have to eliminate games and just pretend they don't exist because otherwise you just get overwhelmed with trying to fit everybody in. So with, the biggest news of the slate not being until 7:30, we only have 1 game on the main slate that's before that. It's the Pistons and Magic. It's very easy to just pretend that game doesn't exist. Don't play anybody from that game. And the slate starts at 7:30, right? Like, I don't care what lock is. Set your lineup for 7:30 and later, and that way you can react to the Lakers news if we don't have it right at 7. Because that really dictates the slate as far as how many values we can comfortably fit in and then how many stud players we can fit in with said values.
I agree. And I love the Friday night games because I love that 8 p.m. game. I don't know what it is. Maybe because I'm getting older and it takes me so much time to get through the day. Like, I love the 8 o'clock game. And tonight you get the 8, the 8:30, the 9 o'clock, and the 10 o'clock. I mean, you got something every minute. So, the prop bets will be at an ultimate high, obviously, and it'll be a lot of stuff to watch. A lot of news coming in, especially with the Lakers. So let me ask you something. Were you guys surprised that LeBron didn't play last night?
I wasn't after he went questionable with a knee injury because he's been on the injury report literally since day one, but it's always probable. It's always the abdominal. When it's a different injury designation and it's a different injury totally, I texted Ghost when we got the alert. I'm like, LeBron's not playing tonight. I'm like, I'm just planning on it now. The only thing that irritated me was I was too afraid of Anthony Davis because he only played 24 minutes in his first game back. So I pretty much X'd him out of my player pool, which really wasn't a smart decision on a 2-game slate. I shouldn't have done that. But then he goes out and he plays basically his entire minute allotment and shoots the lights out of the gym. It was frustrating, but I digress.
It was, well, you know what? It was weird because they were down like 14 and they were still playing them. And I was like, on a back-to-back night.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I was like, it's really weird. Like, I was very, very surprised. So I don't listen. I had the same kind of logic, so it didn't matter. I obviously watched it for the Philly factor, and I'm just glad that I called the under on Joel Embiid. That's why I didn't start him. It wasn't in my core. I just thought it was going to be that night where he didn't do everything that he normally does. But Ghost, what's that? Let's get the cores and we'll talk about what your cores are going into the night. What are those 3 or 4 guys that you're really looking at in your lineups that you're going to play?
Yeah, for me, it's you need at least one. If I'm going to put 1 out of 2. I'm likely playing both CJ McCollum and Norman Powell. That Portland-Houston game for me is really high on my list. And right now with no Nasir Little for likely the rest of the season for Portland, pretty much every game for them is already a must win. And they're essentially down to 5 guys. They're starting 5 is going to be out there for a ton of minutes. And Houston profiles so well for both of their individual matchups. So for me, it's going to be at least one, if not both, McCollum and Powell. Should Christian Wood not play, Adam pointed out in Discord that he did not participate in morning shoot around for the Rockets. You have your Houston Rocket on the comeback there, and my boy Alperen Sengun. So I will be playing him at near the minimum price on DK at 3,500. And then it's going to be at least one Phoenix Sun. A lot of rinse repeat. They're still without DeAndre Ayton, still without Jay Crowder. And now JaVale McGee is also out, as we saw last game too. So whether you go to Bismack Dub, Cam Johnson, or you went to the top of the pricing grid with Devin Booker, he's been shooting lights out. 9,900 is a steep price to pay for somebody that's a pure scorer. So yeah, I tend to lean more towards both Biz and Cam Johnson, especially with how thin power forward is tonight. I do lean to Cam Johnson a lot in this matchup against the Minnesota Timberwolves, who cannot guard the wing position whatsoever. So that's going to be likely where I'm starting. And then I'm going to get as much Charlotte and LA exposure as I can, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, listen, obviously with all those players down for Charlotte, it's definitely a game to look at. Adam, you're going, talk about your core. What do you got, buddy?
Yeah, so I'm kind of assuming at least one, if not 2, Lakers probably sit tonight. So Stanley Johnson, we saw he played a ton of minutes last night. He's 3,400. To me, it's kind of an easy plug and play, especially if all 3 are out. Like, that just enhances everything for everybody, obviously. But even if just one's missing, I'm probably still perfectly fine playing Stanley Johnson. And then I definitely want exposure to the Suns-Bulls game. I think that one's, I pointed out in Discord, I think it's going a little bit under the radar as far as games we need to target. I mean, this game is 232 total. It's higher than the Suns Timberwolves. Guys like DeJounte Murray are still affordable, which I would play Murray over Booker tonight. Not that Booker's not capable of the ceiling, but for $100 more, Murray's just much safer to contribute all the way across the board. Like, if Booker comes out and his shot just doesn't fall, there's almost no chance he's paying off 9,900 on DK. And then, Norman Powell, 6,100. That's just kind of almost a gimme in that game. You definitely need a big chunk of that game. And then my last guy, for right now, it's Jordan Nowell from Minnesota. I kind of assumed D'Angelo Russell might be out tonight since he left so early in the second half last night. He's currently questionable, but it's really easy to just play Nowell and just leave yourself $300 to come up to Patrick Beverley if Beverley plays. There's going to be some value there, regardless of how things shake out. You just have to pay attention to the end of the night. And if Russell and Beverley are both out, Nowell at 4K is just a smash value.
Listen, and that's another team in Minnesota that had to travel, playing it back to back. So even if those guys play, the minutes are going to be limited. So I think that's a great call, obviously. Now, what I will say is, again, Jigsaw goes against the grain all the time, but I love Book. And I get it. Everything you said is 100% spot on. But this is I just feel that back-to-back Book night tonight. I feel like this is, again, when he gets in that zone, he gives you those 3 to 4 games that he's just lights out. And I feel like that's going to be the night. And I love CJ McCollum tonight. I was saying that in Discord, was talking to Jimmy about it. And I love Nurkic. And the reason why is because that Houston game to me, I want somebody, and I think Christian Wood doesn't play. I do, and I think that Nurkic has been really good with doubles lately, and I think this is a good combo night. And I love Zach Lavine. I was back and forth. Do I go DeRozan or do I go Lavine? So for me, I think this is a guard kind of play in that game, and I love Zach tonight. I really do. So we'll see what happens. That's why we do this. It's fun. I went with Book the other night, and I faded him at the last minute. It didn't work out because he went off. So I'm not fading on the night, so it'll probably happen the other way tonight. That's okay. That's why we play. And I love NBA because there's always the next night. I don't have to wait another week like we do in NFL. So we already got some comments coming. Jimmy's going, LaMelo, CJ, Can, DDR, Biz, Nowell. and Nowell, Powell, and Storm and Norman and Keldon Johnson. I like okay. Yeah, man. I mean, look, it's all these exposure games, right? It says LaMelo's going to destroy the Lakers. Listen, that Charlotte team. What do we got, guys? 5 or 6 players in that game?
It's really thin on both sides of the ball. Charlotte's down Gordon Hayward, Kelly Oubre had a pretty bad injury there. I think it was his left ankle. So it's going to be thin rotations across the board for both teams, and frankly, neither one of them are good enough to be able to go too deep into their bench, regardless.
We might actually get LaMelo playing 38 minutes like he did last game. Like, hallelujah! It only takes injuries to get the kid on the court as much as he should. Like, he plays 38 minutes and they put up 150 points. Like, that game was over early. They completely blew them out of the water. But we give them 38 minutes then. Okay, good decisions here, buddy. I dislike the way Charlotte handles him so much.
Listen, I agree, man. I agree. I mean, he is. I did not think he was going to be. I don't know about you guys. I didn't think he was going to be that good. I thought he was going to be a decent NBA player. I just didn't think he was going to be as good as he is. I mean, did you guys, Ghost, do you foresee him being the kind of talented guard that he is right now?
Yeah, I'd have to grab the clip to back this one up there. But in our draft preview show, I said that he was going to be a generational player and that he needs to go number 1 over Anthony Edwards. And honestly, I lost count of how many bet slips I had on him going number 1 to the Timberwolves over Anthony Edwards because the odds just kept on falling. And I was like, there's no way that they have to pass up on LaMelo Ball. It just doesn't make sense. And then they go and do that. And now you're stuck with a guy that doesn't know who Alex Rodriguez is, and LaMelo Ball's an all-NBA talent. So that's what you get. Bad franchises stay bad. That's what it is. So
that is one of the truest statements, if there ever is one, because it is so damn true. Like, bad organizations just stay bad. There's a reason why the Bears are looking for a new coach again. Well, they have one, but still, that's why they had to get a new coach again. There's a reason why these teams don't win, right? They're just always in the basement, man. It's funny you say that, Ghost, because I got a lot of flack on the, when we talk about, I'm a Ja guy. So, I was always Ja greater than Zion, and everybody told me I was crazy. No way. No, I said, look, you got to draft Ja. He's a generational talent. I listen, no disrespect to Zion, but he's just Larry Johnson reincarnated. I mean, I get it. He's not today's NBA player. Ja is today's NBA player. And I know that Zion is injured right now, but come on, man. Like, the dude looks disinterested. I mean, he must have gained 40 pounds off of injury. Like, he's a while away from seeing the court again, man. So I love to see what Ja's doing right now.
I want to see that this is going to be crazy. I'm hoping the boys like this one there, especially with the amount of New Yorkers we have. But I want to see Zion go to the Knicks or something. Like, he's got to go to a big market team. And again, it's just bad franchises stay bad, man. Like, what are they doing in New Orleans there? Like, you have 2 fundamental young players. I'm pretty sure Brandon Ingram must be 24 or 25 years old.
Yeah.
He's barely in the prime of his career. He's likely only going to hit his prime in 2 years. And you have Zion, and they can't figure it out, man. So if that's the case, try and do something. If you're starting from scratch, start from scratch. But New Orleans has to figure it out.
Yeah, they do. And Jimmy says the third Ball brother is supposedly better than Lonzo and LaMelo. Well, Jimmy, this is what I will say. I got to tip my hat to LeVar. I wasn't a LeVar Ball guy, but I'll tell you what, LeVar was true. Everything he said was right. He marketed his kids the right way. He threw them in everybody's face, and guess what? They're in the NBA, and they're doing well. Shout out to Lonzo Ball once he gets healthy again, but still, they're playing everything he said he would do. So, what are you going to do? I got to respect him because I'm my kid's biggest hype guy, and he's his kid's biggest hype guy. So, kudos to him. Might not agree with the way he did it, but obviously it is what it is. Let's talk about value. So, I'll go right away with, and I got to do this for my man Ghost. I love Book Night tonight. I think he's going to play a lot of minutes for Charlotte. I really do. 25-30, I'm predicting, and for 3,300, I think he can really give you a good play. And I love Josh Christopher. I know he's questionable. Earlier, it does say he's probable now that he should play tonight. And again, if Christian Wood is out, and they have a lot of guys that are questionable, this could be a good minutes game for Christopher against that game in Portland. That tends to be a lot of points. Adam, do you have any guys? I know you don't really like to go that low, but any guys in that $4,000 to $5,000 range that maybe you're targeting that could be valuable?
So I do have somebody at 34, which I actually don't really mind. And
Oh,
it is going to be GPP only. But Jalen Smith was somebody that I was a little cautious with this past game. He hasn't really been on the rotation. We talked about the trade rumors kind of swirling around him. Phoenix still played him 19 minutes against the Jazz. So, he went 8 and 7. He still almost threatened a double-double in that few minutes. If he gets that, even just 18 to 20 against Minnesota, which is, even with Gobert out, it's still an easier matchup because Karl-Anthony Towns is going to be playing defense on a back-to-back. I do like Smith a little bit. At only 3,400, that really can open things up if we don't get the other value from guys like the Lakers. And, things don't break the right way and you still need that last piece in. Jalen Smith is somebody that I'm looking at still.
Jalen Smith. There you go. Adam's value 3,400, and Adam doesn't normally go below 4,000. So when Adam talks under 4,000, you need to listen, man. 100%. Ghost value guys. Who you got, buddy?
For me, it's going to be talked about it before. He's actually in my core, so it's Sengun time out in Houston. Should Christian Wood not play tonight? I don't know how fired up I am about this. My God, he's literally a 19-year-old Nikola Jokic.
That's why I didn't use him for my value.
If he had,
I was like, I know Gus is going to say Sengun. So
if you have time to tune into that game, just watch a full 12 plus minutes of Alperen Sengun, and you're guaranteed to see at least 2 highlights on ESPN tomorrow morning. So he's going to be my go-to if Christian Wood is out. And then one guy that I will be keeping an eye on is THT from the Lakers. So knowing LeBron, it's All-Star weekend coming up shortly. Trades are going to be flying. And THT is pretty much their one and only asset that they can actually flip for something at the deadline. And they need to start playing the man because it's a lot of hype saying that he's a top-end prospect and he can be a solid rotation player to eventually a second or third, piece on someone's championship team, according to the Lakers. So he's got to prove it, right? So for that, and we've seen flashes of upside, like with all jokes aside there about what the Lakers keep saying about THT, comparing him to basically prime Michael Jordan at this point. But like they need to be able to flash him, and a game against Charlotte would be able to do that. It gives him an elite game environment to be able to do so. And at 3,600, I feel like a lot of people are going to look at the Lakers rotation last night and just try and replicate that. But this is a completely different game tonight. So if they need some ball handlers, they need some scorers, especially with Malik Monk out, they need somebody that can handle the ball and be a spot-up shooter. THT will fit in that role very nicely for them.
I like that. Keith says THT would be a solid piece in Philly Jigsaw. Yes, Keith, I would love me some THT.
Yeah, they'll probably ask for Embiid and like six first-round picks, though. But
yeah, seriously.
So the Lakers think of THT.
THT's going to Indiana for Miles Turner and 3 first-round picks, apparently.
Yeah, it's just...
I mean, these Laker fans, man, they need to get a grip.
Wow. Let me tell you something. All I know is I've been dealing with trade rumors, Keith, and we're talking who's going to come here. Is it going to be Harden? Is it going to be an offseason? Listen, now they're talking about Sacramento breaking talks off. I don't know. All I know is we're wasting my man JoJo's prime, and it's absolutely killing me. Absolutely killing me. It's just unbelievable. So, boys, we're doing good here. We're going to get the props for profit in a minute. But let's talk about anything else that, whether it be from a value standpoint, whether it be from a core standpoint, whether it be a specific game and injury that's going to predict something else tonight. Adam, you have anything off the hot press that you want to talk about?
No, we really don't have the news we need yet. We kind of talked about all the games that we were really, really targeting. I will say that, if we get the news that we need, the DeJounte Murray, DeMar DeRozan stack with LaMelo Ball looks awfully nice in a lineup if you have enough value. That should lean. That should tell you where I'm leaning with between my cores and what we got going here.
So you're saying what was that? What was that triple threat you got?
The DeJounte Murray, LaMelo Ball, DeMar DeRozan trio with some of the values. And we need the news to break right for us, but that Murray and DeRozan stack in a game with a 230 total, and I think the spread is it's 1.5. It's one of the closest spreads of the night. These are the kind of games that will not that you don't want exposure to the Rockets game and the Hornets and everything, but if you get two of those pieces just throwing haymakers at each other all night, that's the kind of difference maker to get you to the top of the lineup.
I like that. I mean, because again, and that's what we do, and that's why we have these shows, and that's why Adam's in Discord. And again, don't forget these guys write a bang up article every single day. I go in there 10 a.m. It's always sitting there hot off the press. They break down what their honorable mentions are. They break down what their starters are, their cores, you name it, and then they update through Discord throughout the day and on this show, obviously. So make sure you check it out at winbaileysports.com. But Ghost, besides that, any other last minute, talks you want to do about plays or players or stacks before we go into the props?
I mean, it's nothing worth like completely shifting your lineup around for, right? But you have a battle of two heavyweights out in the West tonight, Utah visiting Memphis, and nobody's playing anybody from that game. And I mean anybody. And Donovan Mitchell is still out, and Rudy Gobert is still out. It's going to be different from site to site. Hassan Whiteside should be 100% rostered tonight on Yahoo. Just a ridiculous price.
Like $1 million%.
It's a ridiculous price point and keep in mind that Yahoo uses, for those of you that don't play on Yahoo very often or haven't played at all, Yahoo uses FanDuel scoring, right? So you get 3 points per block, and Hassan Whiteside likes to get a couple of those every now and then. I heard he just gets a couple here and there. So make sure that you end up loading up on the Hassan Whiteside there. But just all in all, that game's getting completely overlooked. And Ja's been on a complete tear. Desmond Bane's back for Memphis. Everyone knows how much I like Desmond Bane. And still got Dylan Brooks and Kyle Anderson out for Memphis. Brandon Clarkson play. Like, there's pretty much players at every price point in that game. And while Jordan Clarkson is simply way too expensive on DK at 7,200, there are other Jazz that are worth rostering tonight, just like there is Memphis guys. I mean, you can't ignore what Ja Morant is doing at 10.3 either. We talked about Devin Booker. We talked about DeJounte Murray, and Ja's only $300 to $400 apart from both those guys, right? So we got to put him in that conversation also, especially for these large field tournaments where nobody's rostering him at all. It's certainly worth taking a look at.
Now, speaking specifically from that game, and you're talking about, it makes me take a look because I love Jaren Jackson Jr. I really do. I think, and again, there's no Gobert tonight, so you're talking a young kid, another young kid who's been playing. He's under 7,000, offering you 30 to 35 DK points. I mean, Adam, is that somebody? It sounds like not a lot of people are playing anybody from this game. Is that somebody maybe that could fill in that power forward center spot in your lineup?
It is possible. I'm tending towards spending down at power forward and then generally spending a little bit higher at the center spot, or I guess a little bit lower at the center spot as well if you wanted to slide him into there. Jackson's one of those guys that I try, you always try and play with non-personal bias. I never get this guy right. I never do. I mean, if I play him, he's got 5 fouls in 18 minutes, and he spends most of his time on the bench. If I don't, he drops to 45 DK points. So he's well worth a look in the game environment, especially going overlooked. He's not somebody I'll end up on myself. I'll be honest.
No, listen, yeah, and that's why we do this. It's full transparency, right? So there's players, man. There's players that it's not because they got right. There's players that I will never like in football. Keenan Allen could be the best player in the world. I'll never take him ever. I don't care if Ghost tells me dude's going off or Sticks tells you got to. I don't care. I'll never play him. I hate him. He's done nothing but kill my teams. Whether injury or I'm done with Keenan Allen. So I completely get it 100%. So let's keep this moving. Let's get to our prop section like we do every night. And, this is fun. Now, listen, I had a bad night. This is our props for profits segment of the night. So if you have any props, put them in the thread, keep them in Discord, get them in the comments, whatever you got. It could be a hunch. It could be fully analytical. There's a lot of ways that you could do props, but we tend to get as good to plus money as we can. Sometimes, you might get a minus 105, a minus 110, but if you stack the minus 110 with a plus 200, you're in the plus money for a little combo bet. So keep that in mind as well. And I'm going to go full gut feeling here. And this, I looked at zero number. I looked at zero analytics. And I'm just saying, we talked about this guy. He's eventually going to do this. I've bet this prop twice in a row, and I have not gotten it yet. And it just keeps going up. I bet it at plus 125. I bet it at plus 155. And now it's at plus 170. So one of these nights, Mr. Murray is going to give me those 2 threes that I want. And third, listen, I love Lucky Charms, one of my favorite cereals. So I'm going 3 times a charm. Luck of the, over the rainbow, luck of the leprechaun. I'm going to go DeJounte Murray over 1.5 threes. What the hell do I got to lose? You know what I mean? It's eventually got to come out. And if he doesn't hit tonight, I'm never betting it again. So we'll see. Now, Adam writes, talk about your Powell over 2.5 threes.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of already, touched a good bit on that game.
Yeah, you're right.
Powell's back to 35 minutes. He was out for a couple weeks with health and safety protocols, some personal stuff. Whatever the case was there. But realistically, it's McCollum, it's Simons, it's Powell carrying this offense. The Rockets are in the bottom 10 in 3-point frequency allowed, 42.1%. Fastest game of the night. You're going to give me plus money with Norman Powell. I'll take it.
Plus money all day. And then
He's
you talked about this guy.
39% from 3. Sorry.
Oh, there you go. There's the stat you want. And you talked about how you're a Desmond Bane guy. There you go. Desmond Bane over 2.5 threes, a plus 115 too, right?
I do have to admit, it is moved after I sent it to you. So it's at minus 115 currently.
Oh, wow.
But, Desmond Bane is one of the most lethal 3-point guys in the league. He's approaching 42%. As Go said, they're still down a bunch of guys. So even at minus 115, that's just too low to not take a run at that. You're going to give me 42% when they're down multiple offensive players. I'll take that all day.
And you know what, Adam, as I do, and Ghost knows as well. I mean, even this minus 115 at 2.5, maybe you pay up a little bit. Maybe you throw it in a little combo bet and you get, 3 plus threes or 4 plus threes, and it turns into plus money. So if you're that convinced that maybe he can go over that number with 3 or 4, then maybe you get your plus money that way. Ghost, you got any props for us?
I do. I gotta adjust here because those are two of the 4 that I've written down. So.
You guys are
right up.
I love it, man.
We didn't talk pretty much all day. Ghost was busy at work, so
right off the sheet, man. I absolutely love it. Right on the sheet. But I'll keep the theme of going with Storm and Norman tonight, and 20 plus for the former Toronto Raptor is at minus 105 right now. So Storm and Norman over 20 or more points, minus 105 on the book of your choice. Or just increased opportunity with Nasir Little out. And like I was saying, they're going to have to run that starting 5 nearly 38 plus minutes together. So when CJ McCollum does end up coming off the court, both Anthony Simons and Norman Powell are going to be able to thrive. And that's where I expect Norm to be able to do most of his damage. He could run up and down the court when he's playing the 3. This is a pure Norman Powell game environment right now. So I do have a ton invested in Norman Powell tonight, and we'll see how that goes. And then the other one for me is it's not a feed of Friday without a dog barking. So Chicago Bulls money line at plus 105 against DeJounte Murray and the Spurs. This line just doesn't make sense to me. And it's got fishy line written all over it. It's got trap line written all over it. Say what you will. Model absolutely loves the Bulls tonight, and I trust that thing with my life. So, like the Bulls
number, Bulls money line at what number?
Bulls money line at plus 105. So they're coming in right now. Granted, still missing Lonzo Ball, still missing some rotation pieces there. Vooch is playing, DeRozan's playing, Lavine's got a couple of games under his belt now, and they're taking on DeJounte Murray. That's it. No disrespect to Keldon Johnson or Jakob Poeltl. Neither one of those guys can hang with Vooch. Lavine and DeRozan. They're just not in that same caliber. They're great players themselves, but they're not in the caliber of the Bulls' big three right now. And with how short that Chicago rotation is, it just means more shots, more minutes for their big three. And it's the same thing we could say about Brooklyn. Should all three of those guys take the court together, if Steve Nash plays them all 38 minutes, it's very tough to see somebody beating Brooklyn. But when you throw into the fact that Paul Millsap is still in your rotation, and who knows who else is still in your rotation come playoff time, that's where Brooklyn gets fried, right? So that problem goes out the window for Chicago tonight with a very thin rotation, all three of their main offensive contributors healthy. And I give Vooch the advantage over Podol. I give DeRozan the advantage over Keldon Johnson. And Zach Lavine doesn't exactly line up one-on-one on DeJounte Murray, but that's going to be a tough matchup for both those guys. So giving the better team in this one. They're coming off an impressive victory over the Toronto Raptors at home, and now they're on the road to San Antonio. Got a couple of days rest in there too. So I like the Bulls at plus 105 tonight.
So we got a bunch of people picking. Javon says you have nothing to lose and everything to gain on the Murray threes. Javon, absolutely, 100%. Keith says Melly and Murray both get. Oh, I like Melo and Murray both get triple dubs. Keith, listen, Adam almost had the double triple dubs last week, man. Earlier in the week, I should say. So I could see that happening as well, 100%. I love the Powell threes prop. Was looking at that myself. And Ivan says if LaMelo gets the minutes, I like the over PRA 35.5. That PRA always scares me. I don't know why. I never do good with it. I never do good with that. I always miss it by 1 or 2. I feel. I'm not sure why. It's just
I'm looking at you, Jimmy Butler from
33.5, right? 33.
Missed it by 1, and he sat the whole fourth. I was not a happy man. Stupid Knicks. But yeah, I mean, Ivan's right though. Like if he gets the minutes, he should shatter that. It's just always those minutes with LaMelo that can trip you up a little bit.
Yeah, no, you're right, and we just talked about that earlier in the program. And my last one, I'm gonna go with DeMar over 5.5 rebounds at plus 125. There's gonna be a ton of shots thrown up in that game, a lot of opportunities. He averages 6 over the last 3. It's one of those games we've been looking at, so I think this is a good spot for him as well. And then Adam ends up with a little dub action. What do you think about this, Adam?
Yeah, maybe this is still a little bit of tilt from the other night when I had his points. He finished, again, 1 point under. He missed like 18 bunnies right under the rim, and I was about to kick my TV off the stand. But, when we're looking at Minnesota, they played last night. Jared Vanderbilt is questionable. Cat, played a bunch of minutes last night. Even if those two guys are active, Minnesota's 21st in rebounds allowed in the paint. If one of those dudes, Cat's not going to sit, but if Vanderbilt sits on top of that, Bismack should be able to clean up the glass. And even on a horrid shooting night, he still managed 12 points. So the points are like kind of the least of my worries. And the rebounds are just a really great matchup for him.
I like that call a lot. You just look at him. The points. Listen, 2 games ago, he's double-doubles back-to-back. And then, he has 3 double-doubles in the last 5 games.
It should not be 115. It should be a favorite. So as soon as I saw plus 115, I was all over that. Yeah, that's a good call there. We got to be quiet so the books don't up them on us real fast. But but I like that. What were you saying, Ghost?
I like that one a lot. I have him for 16 and 12 right now.
Oh, look at that.
That would be a no sweat double.
Oh,
I like the sound of that.
The way I pretty much, without giving too much away there, there's secret sauce, but the way I ran the rotations, Towns is not going to be able to play another 40-plus minutes in this one. And then Vanderbilt Q, and they didn't really run him a ton at the 5 yesterday. They weren't too keen on that. And if he gets the amount of minutes that it's not that many. I don't want to describe it as 30 minutes against Naz Reid there. It's really not that many, but with the matchup that I have him against Naz Reid, he's going to get to the line 8 times.
Even 6 to 8 minutes on Naz Reid's going to put him.
He's going to get to the line. He's going to get to the stripe tonight 8 times.
Yeah, he got through 6 last game.
Yeah, I think 8 times.
6, 3, 7, and like I said, I don't think the points are the biggest worry on that end of it. I think it's just the rebounds, and that's a really good spot for him.
The rebounds are always the hardest thing to come by, man. I feel like it's crazy. I forget who I had a couple nights ago, but I had over 6.5 rebounds.
That's how I lost my SGP yesterday. I missed it by one Vanderbilt
rebounds, right?
Plus, it was at plus 506. I hit them all straight bets, so I ended up still coming out positive on the night, but I would have been a plus 506 SGP with Edwards over 22.5 points, Wiggins over 16.5, and then it was Vanderbilt 10 plus rebounds. I finished with 9.
All-star starter.
That's the
Andrew
worst,
Wiggins.
man. That's the worst. So they say we got a comment from Ace Gamer 1203. Do I go Anthony Edwards, Christian Wood, Nurkic, or Cunningham in tiers?
I mean, that somewhat depends on Wood's status, because if
Yep.
Wood's out, I'd kind of lean Nurkic there.
Yeah.
If they're both in,
I might go Wood.
I still kind of like Wood. I'm just looking. I was hoping the game started a little bit closer together, because like if D'Lo's out, Edwards might take the cake there. So if you know before that game starts, Edwards without D'Lo would probably be my favorite. If not, it's between Wood and Nurkic. I lean Wood. If he's out, then obviously it's Nurkic.
Yeah, I just get scared with the minutes. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. You never know what's going to happen. But no, I agree. I mean, I think obviously one thing we can all agree on, Cunningham is the least of the 4 that I would go with. But what about you guys?
I mean, everyone else is
Oh, sorry, get out.
game environment. Sorry.
If Wood plays, I don't. Again, you guys know me. I don't like to try and predict injuries there unless the model tells me someone's confirmed out even before sometimes it hits Twitter. Like yesterday, we had LeBron out at 10:30 in the morning, and that was absolutely huge. So right now, it doesn't have Christian Wood out because he is a true game time decision. If he plays, I really like Christian Wood tonight. This is such a good matchup for him against Nurk. If he's out, I would go Ant and then Nurkic. Cunningham's he's completely out for me.
Yeah,
he says fake Cunningham.
Yeah, Cade's gonna be out of that tier. I'm just gonna pretend like he doesn't exist in that tier. So if Wood plays, it's Wood. If not, it's Ant number 1 and then Nurk number 2 for me.
Perfect. Well, there we go. That's how we're going to close this out. We're getting better and better every day. So now we're 36 minutes. So started at 47. We went to 45 at 43. And now we're at 36. So we're getting to that 30 number, which I love. We'll get there eventually. But as always, give us a follow at Windaily Sports. Every single social format. You heard it. Obviously, you should be subscribing if you haven't subscribed yet. Get your free week. Don't forget, get your free week of gold of everything that we're talking about right here. Code word radio until we mix it up. But everybody, check those tickers, man. You never know. Like Adam said, throw that 7 o'clock game out. Just worry about 7:30 on. Have a great night of football. I almost said football because I was doing football props earlier.
Couple days.
I was on the radio today doing football props, and now my head's talking about football props, and I'm all over. Too many sports, man. God damn it. Too many sports. But again, Ghost, Adam, Tony, for everybody for checking in, Javon, Ivan, Keith, Jimmy, as always, everybody on Twitch, we love you. Keep it coming. Keep us in the threads. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll catch you on Monday.